everybody, it's Femtrooper, and today we're going to be talking about Yakuza 3, the remastered version. So I recently just beat Yakuza 3 and I really liked it. I have heard so many things about this game. It's the black sheep of the series, it's not as good, it's a little rough around the edges, whatever. But I'm here to say it's actually pretty solid. Is it the best Yakuza game out there? No, I wouldn't place it as my favorite, but it had really good moments. It has exactly what you want from a Yakuza game, and it was thoroughly entertaining throughout the whole time. So what makes this one specifically kind of different from the rest? Well, I think what a lot of people are experiencing is, yeah, it is a little rough around the edges because it's just a remaster. It's not a complete remake like Kiwami did with 1 and 2, and how Yakuza 0 was a completely new game. So Kiwami 1 and 2 were complete remakes of the first two. So yeah, they feel like PS4 games when you're playing them, but Yakuza 3 is more just a remaster. So yeah, it's not the same as the previous ones if you're playing them in order on the PS4. So yes, it is a little bit rough. It doesn't look as good. It does look better than if you played it on, say, PS3, because it is a PS3 game, but it doesn't look as good as like Yakuza 0, for instance. So if you're going in and you play Yakuza 0, then you play Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, and then you play Yakuza 3 on the PS4, yes, it's not gonna look as good, but honestly, it still looks pretty good to me, and I like Yakuza so much that I don't really care graphics-wise, if it's a little bit, a step down from the ones that you've just played. It's fine. It still looks really good. Yeah, this game is different because it's the first game that takes place in a different location. This time, Kiryu is in Okinawa, which is, I think, really cool. The whole thing is wacky. You think about, would this happen in real life? And you're like, no, an ex-Yakuza would not be running an orphanage for children. But that's what's going on here. That's what Kiryu is doing. He's running an orphanage with kids, and he has Haruka to help him out. And yeah, very bizarre concept, but it's basically about him running this orphanage, and then things go amiss, and then he has to go back into Tokyo, deal with some stuff, and also deal with running this orphanage and looking after kids. I think what makes it a bit weird is, yeah, there are a lot of missions where you're not doing typical Yakuza stuff, you're doing interesting things with kids. You're solving problems with these kids. So, there might be some kids fighting, or maybe there's a kid that's doing something bad and, it's affecting the other kids. And so those will be story plot lines for, like, the first half of the game. You are really spending a lot of time as this orphanage director, like this owner of an orphanage, and it's kind of bizarre and kind of weird, but it somehow works, and Kiryu, he's got a big heart, and he's a good guy, but it is kind of weird. And then, as the story progresses, you've got other, actual Yakuza guys working at this orphanage, and you're like, man, I don't think this would happen, but that's the fun of it. It's zany, it's still a weird Yakuza game, and yeah, it is a little different, but it's still got all the same stuff that you want from a Yakuza game. In terms of the combat in this game, it's a little bit more basic than what you've maybe grown accustomed to if you've played Kiwami 1 and 2. Now, I'm not exactly like pro champion when it comes to like brawlers or anything like that. So to me, I kind of don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the connoisseur of brawlers here. So keep that in mind when I'm talking about it. But I could tell when I was playing it that, yeah, it wasn't quite as refined as what they had done in the PS4 ones. So yeah, it is a step back. It's a little rough. Like, it is really just, punch and kick, and it's pretty simple. But I also did notice there weren't as many battles. Like, when you're walking around in town, wherever you are, whether it's Tokyo or Okinawa, I didn't find there to be as many encounters with people. Like, the other ones, you'll be walking around and it'll just be like street thugs or, Yakuza, and then they'll come after you, and then you gotta, it's like kind of like a random encounter in a JRPG. But in this one, I found you could walk around a lot and nothing would happen to you. So I'm not sure if it's just the changes they made for, the new ones. And so going back to 3 It just wasn't quite the same. It does feel a little bit more rough, but overall, it was fine. Like, I enjoyed the combat, I enjoyed the story, and I can assure you, there are many jaw-dropping moments in this. That's why I like this series, because you play it for the, crazy telenovela style kind of shock factor moments, and there are several of those, especially at the end. My God, I was like, oh my God, there were so many ridiculous moments, and, where you want to just, like, you gotta pause it, like, okay, they're doing that? Yes, they're doing that because it's Yakuza, so they're gonna be crazy, silly, over-the-top emotional, over-the-top, it'll be like the saddest moment you've ever experienced, and then the funniest moment you've ever experienced, but in the same, like, 10 seconds. So it's definitely there. I wouldn't call this the strongest one by any means, but it is a really good one. So because I'm playing through them all, and I try and play like one a year-ish, it's still worth your time. So if you're like, oh, I've heard weird things about Yakuza 3, it's in Okinawa, it's kind of weird. I mean, it's Kiryu in like a beach shirt, in like in a Hawaiian shirt. Like, it's ridiculous and silly. And there were some moments in this that I was like legitimately like, whoa, that's intense, because he's trying to look after all these kids. So the orphanage does, end up in the plot. And so I was quite like, wow, they went there. Like, it was pretty intense. And you're like feeling really emotional. It's really intense, and I actually quite enjoyed it. Now, I wouldn't say it's my favorite one by any means. I think, Zero is still my favorite. I'm not going to include Like a Dragon with this. Like, for the Kiryu ones, I think I enjoyed Zero the most. It was just really, really well done in every way. But this one is still really good. Like, this is the kind of series, to me, it's like Dragon Quest, where you're going to play through them and have a favorite, but when you look back at all of them, it's like, well, they're all good though. Like, I can't say, but that one was bad. Versus, like, I'm sorry, but in, like, Final Fantasy, there are bad ones, and there are ones I really don't like. And then there are ones I love a lot. Whether Dragon Quest, I don't hate any of them, I like them all. So this is the same kind of situation here, where I play through every game, I know it's a solid experience. And I know when I go into playing the next one, like I'm going to play Yakuza 4 Remastered, and I know I'm going to have a good time. Like, I know you can expect really good things from these games. That's just how good they are. That the quality is top notch. It's really great. You can expect awesome stuff with these. Overall, Yakuza 3 is a solid experience. It's really fun, and quite honestly, a nice change. As much as I really like the series, it's always set in the same area. It's always in Kamurocho, right, in Tokyo. It's always in the same area, and as much as it's great, they're fun, they're different stories, whatever, they're shocking moments, it was kind of nice to kind of just step back and just find myself in Okinawa. Kiryu was like on the beach chilling. I'm like, this is kind of a cool vibe, and I like it. I like that they did something different. I think it's worth taking risks sometimes like that, because it really made for a really neat story, and it's great just to see the character progress again. That's the cool thing about this series, is that you're literally watching this character get older and older and older in each game, and it just keeps getting better. Like, I'm loving it. I love this series to bits, and if you've never played any, yeah, you gotta play them in order, but trust me, it's worth it to go through all of these. They're not crazy, they're not 100-hour games. You can definitely, like, go through them. I'm just sort of taking my time with the series, but I am loving it. Like, this is one of my favorite series ever. So I hope you enjoyed my Yakuza 3 review. Definitely check it out if you haven't played it, or if you've just recently beat, like, Kiwami 2. Get in there, play Yakuza 3. It's really fun. Have some, epic beach moments with Kiryu. It's awesome. It's super fun. It's emotional. It's sad. It is shocking. Very shocking, actually, sometimes. And just a really good time. Let me know in the comments if you've played Yakuza 3. I would like to know, because I know it's kind of the black sheep of the series. So I'm just curious. Have you played it? And as always, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.